Yay, there's Ron.
What a handsome devil you are.
Yes, you are. Yay.
Good to see you.
Excellent.
Now we got to make sure the microphone doesn't cover your face. Okay, there you go.
This is too much fun.
Wow, you have an even better microphone. Look at you all uptown.
He really does.
You know, I just bought one that was for sale, and here it is.
He makes things sound so simple.
Well, I never heard back from Tom, so I'm assuming that he's planning on getting on here.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah, let me go grab my phone and see if I see
you can
anything
send him
updated.
a little message. Yeah, because I went onto WhatsApp and I was going to send him a quick message.
Yeah.
How exciting, Ron. Someone across the pond wants to talk to you.
Well, it is. You know,
yeah,
it's a lot better
reaching many people.
Than having me swim over here or me swimming over there.
Uh-huh. Okay, let's see.
Okay, well, so he told me that's fine.
Oh, does he have the invite?
I don't know. He told me that through Telegram.
Okay, so
but you emailed it to him. Okay.
I did. Should I go into WhatsApp too?
Yeah, I'm telling him now, check your email. So
yeah, I don't know, or WhatsApp, whatever he could connect to. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen some of the interviews he's done lately with Tarot by Janine. And oh man, there's some big things that are coming out right now. It's like, whoa, the numbers he's following. Lots of cool stuff.
Well, after he picks Ron's brain, hopefully he can share with us.
Yeah. Yeah, some really cool stuff coming out.
It's got a toothpick, it'll work.
Can we just gloat for a minute? Can we all gloat for a minute? Who saw Biden falling down those stairs? And
how many times?
And who remembers the mainstream media making fun of Trump because he would hold on to the handrails going up and down the stairs?
Right.
He was right. Who's the smart one here?
It looks so much like Jim Carrey when he was in different roles, you know, and just falling all over the place. And I was just like, yeah, that's so Jim Carrey.
Did you see it, Ron? Did you see Butch falling?
I did see it.
I called him Butch.
Somebody was saying it's that actor Woods guy.
Yeah, I heard that too. I haven't even looked that person up yet. There he is.
Hi, everybody turn this way. Everybody turn this way.
Hey, everyone.
Hi, Tom.
Hey.
You got to turn yourself. There you go. Turn your life around.
I wish I could turn myself left and right like that.
Oh, would that be great?
Have a different view.
How are you? What shirt are you wearing today? I love his t-shirts. This is great.
So I put on Washington. I was like,
I love it.
Georgetown.
Nice. There you
DC. Go. DC will be
even
no
though
longer
it might be a bit
while
murky.
It lasts.
Exactly, while it lasts. And,
that's right.
you know, there's, you know, maybe it's going to be a key thing in the next not too distant future.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah. Might be worth a lot of money to collect.
Yeah, exactly. It's a keeper.
Unless it's cancel culture, to a culture canceled. Whatever it is.
Culture
then we'll
canceled.
just burn it.
There you go.
Culture club.
So Tom, this is Ron Giles. Ron.
I know.
Hello, Tom. We had a nice conversation. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, we had a really good talk the other day. So that was really good to see you, man. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I was saying to Ron, how good does it feel that someone from the other side of the pond wants to talk to you?
Well, I'd love to talk about my passionate stuff, and so here we are.
Can you lower your microphone a little? Like lower the level? Yeah, push it down more. Talk, yeah, so we can hear you a little better.
Okay, is that better?
Yes, it is.
Yep.
All right.
2 thumbs up. I like that.
Yeah, so Ron really he explained a lot to us about the quantum financial system, the quantum computer, the dinar, right? The Zim and the redemption centers. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
What is the latest with the dinar? Because I've heard things about that in the last day or two. So where do we stand with that right now? What's the truth of the dinar?
I have looked, I've heard that the dinar has been revalued 1-to-1 with the US dollar.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
But it's only in country. And then I've heard some other conflicting things from people, somebody over there saying it hasn't happened. So it's hard to know.
Okay.
Hear reports from the government. Maybe it takes a while to get down to the individuals on the street where it's really affecting them.
Yeah.
So I guess they like US dollars over there because it's 1-to-1 dinar with the US dollar, and people are excited about getting US dollars on a 1-to-1 basis. So I really don't understand all of that, but let them be happy with what they have. I think that's really good.
Right, because the value of the dollar has dropped significantly, hasn't it?
Has it?
Well,
I haven't heard. I go to the store and you don't get as much for gas anymore.
I mean, yeah, it's not worth what it, yeah.
Yeah. Mine's dumped $1 a gallon or more.
Wow.
So
ours has jumped almost about that, probably about that. It went up and then it dropped back again. So
I like your couch, Julie.
well,
I told you the same thing, Tom. What'd I tell you, Julie? I said
I'm in a new
on that couch.
location. I'm in a new location. I'm in Kansas this round. So
Oh yeah.
my
Okay.
nieces. Yeah.
Yeah.
You look
It's
very
I just sit
hard
on my
there.
couch at home sometime. What'd you say, Tom?
I was just saying you look very at home there. It looks great.
It's comfortable. It's comfy. Thank you.
It looks it.
Well, so Tom, you had contacted me because you saw an interview we did with Ron about the QFS, and you found some numbers that you were like, we need to chat about this. So can you share with us what you found?
Yeah, sure.
And
so
dive right in there.
Yeah, it's a good starting point. Thanks, Julie. So and thanks Denise and Julie for arranging this, and for Ron for being here and putting me in touch. Like Ron said, we were able to have a good conversation a few days ago.
Good.
So so a lot of things came to mind, and one of them is the quantum financial system, as you've said. And when you do the numbers on that, it comes to 310. So when I say the numbers, a lot of people might know what that is, but for new viewers, we're doing basic numerology or simple gematria, which is 1 to 26 or A to Z, A to Z. So A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, etc. So the order of the letter in the alphabet corresponds to the order of that number. And then you add up the value of it. So if you do, and the big one is Trump. Trump comes to 88, T-R-U-M-P, 20th letter T, 18th letter R, 21st letter U, 13th letter M, 16th letter P. Add them together comes to Trump, 88. So the quantum financial system is a bit of a longer one, but it comes to 310.
Okay.
And 310, I mentioned this in my conversation with Ron, and so 310 makes me think of a couple of things, and one of them is the Bible reference in Malachi. On Malachi, there's a scripture in Malachi which says it's chapter 3 verse 10, Malachi 3:10. 3:10 talks about the windows of heaven being opened and how the Lord would pour a blessing upon the people.
Wow.
And I see that and I think of Josiah and Nasara.
Right.
But it talks about the windows of heaven. So windows, the word windows, plural, comes to 107, which comes to trumps. So if you do the single version, window, 88 is trump. So windows of heaven, and heaven is 55, which comes to Melania, comes to sky, comes to cloud. And we know that the quantum financial system is this higher consciousness, really, if you want to call it that. And so, existing, we've already kind of been prepped, in terms of technology in the cloud, but this is a higher cloud. This is a an off-world kind of connecting, conjoining everything. But 310 comes to the quantum financial system, which is Malachi 3:10. Wow. And it says that it will be so big in terms of the wealth and the blessing that people won't be able to, there won't be enough room to receive it. Another thing that that I've seen along this timeline with all of this that we've been going through the last year or so is President Trump's been going to Yuma a lot. Yuma is a place in Arizona. It's part of the wall.
Okay.
And the word wall, as in Wall Street, but also wall, wall comes to 48. 48 comes to Zim.
Oh.
Yeah. Also comes to my name, Tom. So I notice these ones. Comes to James. It comes to other things. But wall comes to 48, which is Zim. Z-I-M.
Right.
The President Trump kept going to Yuma, Arizona. Now there's two films with the same title in the history of movies called 310 to Yuma. Okay.
Yep.
310 to Yuma. And 310 again is that number. 310 is the quantum financial system, but it's also the reference in Malachi 310. So there's three of them all triangulating, and President Trump constantly goes to Yuma. It was one of his most recent speeches. He's done it maybe 3 or 4 times since we've been following all this with 2020 and 2021. But one of the last ones he gave as president was down at Yuma again. Correction, that was Alamo. So sorry, forget that. But he's done 2 or 3, maybe 4 times in the last year or so that I can remember of Yuma, at Yuma 310. So you can see how they're all connected. And the beauty of the whole phrase, the quantum financial system, comes to 310.
Wow.
It's fascinating.
So the more you delve into it, the bigger it expands, and you see more and more in the kaleidoscope of the numbers. Yeah, I thought that was amazing when I saw that, and then when I saw the 3 of you talking about a month ago, I was like, I've got to chat with all 3 of you again about it, and thankfully got to know Ron and talk more about it, and he, wanted to go into more of the actual details of the the consciousness of the system, etc. So, but yeah, thanks for the opening question.
Yeah.
Julie, yeah, for sure.
Well, and I find that curious because I'll have to look up that verse, and you said something that was very curious to me, that it was going to be like riches more than we can accept.
Yeah.
And so it's curious to me because something that is coming out is that as we have become more sovereign and we find out that we're actually worth millions and millions and maybe billions of dollars, that Nasara and Jasara is not going to be dumped on us all at one time. It's going to, it's going to allow us to reap our rewards, but in a more balanced venue. And so to me, that's biblical, something, that's lining up with what we're getting ready to roll out in Nasara and Jasara.
It's that transition, isn't it? He spoke about the transition to greatness, and transition, the word transition comes to 139, which comes to Christopher, what makes me think of Christopher Columbus, Christopher Nolan, my great film favorite director, with a lot of these references. I have a bus here in London. The 139 goes right past where I am all the time, and it's amazing how potent the bus numbers here are. There's a 74, which is Jesus, which is Point, which is Messiah. There's an 88 Trump bus not far down the road. There's a 55 Melania, Windows, all of those things. But 139 is transition, but it's also money exchange. So the 2 words money exchange come to 139.
Wow.
So it's all everything. It's, the more you look at it, it just builds and builds and builds and reinforces itself.
Yeah. Another scripture is Leviticus 25:8, and it talks about the Jubilee. I don't know if you've heard about that, the Jubilee. So the Jubilee, it's in the Old Testament, Leviticus. The Jubilee, the year of release, it's also called, deals largely with like land, property rights. And according to the Jubilee in Leviticus, slaves and prisoners are freed, and debts will be forgiven. Does that sound familiar? And it says the mercies of God would be particularly manifest. Denise? What's that?
So it's Leviticus, what is it, 20?
That's Leviticus 25, verse 8.
8.
Okay.
Yeah, it's from 8, verse 8 to 55. but it
Nice.
talks about the debts being freed, you know,
Yeah.
owning your own property, having property rights. So to me,
Yeah.
that's like no more property tax.
Yeah. And when you say Jubilee, so Jubilee comes to 64, which comes to Tenet, the Christopher Nolan film I always keep referencing, but it comes to American. The word American, America is 50, which is Donald.
Okay.
Paul and Eileen, some personal references for me, but America, 50, Donald. Utah, I believe, is 50 as well. But American with an N takes it to 64, which is Jubilee. It's also Israel. It's also Zion. When you do Golden Jubilee, Golden is 57, which is Tesla, Nikola Tesla. It's also George, hello, George. It's Mary, it's England. But you add those together, it comes to 121, which is Revelation, which is also from the comic books and films, Gotham City. You know, that's all played on the thing of Trump being Batman, etc. But Revelation is 121, and Book of Revelation comes to 185, which is Donald John Trump. So it just continues and continues and continues. So, you know, but I'll need to look at that verse. Thank you, Denise. That would be
You're welcome.
great to look at. Yeah, Leviticus. Yeah. I need to work out the numbers on Leviticus. Actually, I'll do that. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be interested in hearing about it. Ron, what is your take on all of this?
Very interesting. It's something that supports what's happening, and I like that. It's nice to be in harmony with what's supposed to be happening.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like I've said, you know, to a lot of people with what Tom does, and we're all having different aspects of experiencing the matrix, and some of us are able to read it. And I feel like that's what Tom is doing, is reading the code and helping give a different perspective of what's happening around us. And recently I've had some dreams where I've woken up and able to read the code of everything that was physical around me. And I love what Tom does, because it really puts it into it's easier to process and acknowledge, first of all, that there is a matrix and there is a code, and we're all connected. And you know, the more numbers that he goes through, the more connections we find, right, Tom? I mean, it seems like just goes on and on and on, and it's so beautiful. It's just so fantastic. I love it. Well,
that one, Leviticus, so what Denise just brought up, Leviticus comes to 120, makes me think of January 20th, you know, with the inauguration, but there'll be other things with it as well. And then 25 plus 8 comes to 33. 33 is there. It's also gate, also dawn. And it's a really good, powerful number. You know, the dark hats try to take over the powerful numbers, but all numbers inherently are good and pure and being returned to goodness. But you do 120 plus 33, comes to Interstellar, another great film from Christopher Nolan. Talks about all of this. You know, there's a reference in that film where John Lithgow is playing the father, and his name's Donald. And Matthew McConaughey, the star of it, turns to him and says, "Donald, look after my children." That's a great reference to President Trump rescuing the children in this time. But also, as well, comes to Galactic Federation.
Wow.
I've heard some people say, "Oh, it's not the Federation, it's something else." But in terms of, you know, Galactic Federation 153, it brings into people's awareness this thing of the quantum system and the higher dimensions and off-world beings, and, you know, whether you call them angels or aliens or higher dimensional people, whatever it is, the goodness of all of that is descending, and the quantum financial system, the quantum system is key to all of that. So it's great that Denise just brought that up, Leviticus. I didn't know what the numbers on it were, but 120, you know, add it together, 25 plus 8 plus 120 is 153. So awesome. Yeah.
So cool. So neat to watch.
Yeah.
And it's just all signs of what's to come. It's all confirmation
Yeah.
of what's coming.
Right.
Yes.
Let me give some more numbers here, if you'd like. I'd like to talk about the appointment
Mhm.
and what the
Yes.
plans are for the Alliance to provide us the place to do our appointments.
Yes.
Apparently,
Okay.
there's the Alliance has prepared a website on the quantum on the quantum computer, which is basically the quantum internet. They prepared that, and we'll get the address of it at a point in time and it will be given out freely because there's no secrets about it. So anybody who's doing intel providing and so forth will have that address. There's 3 things to the address. You access it and you put in your country of origin or where you're located. And then
Sorry.
you'll get, that's okay. And then you'll give your location, like your zip code. Most countries have that for their email system or their mailing system. And then you put in your email. So with those three things, they will email back to you a local phone number in your area that you can call and make your appointment. Now, if we really understand that the quantum computer is involved in this, then we realize now that in reality, it's not correct to call it a computer. It's a divine consciousness.
Mhm.
I like that word, divine consciousness.
Right.
Because all of the computing stuff is done by the divine. So,
Right.
so that's it. When we're talking about computers, in this particular case, it is divine consciousness with a quantum computer.
Cool.
And that's the basis of all of the different applications. So the quantum financial system is an application that's put on the quantum computer.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Right.
anybody, the quantum computer is going to be like a cloud for us. So we can upload a bunch of data to it and it'll store it for us and we can retrieve it when we want to. It's
And we're not
free.
going to get charged extra for extra storage if we run out of space, will we, Ron?
Let's go back to the original. There won't be any charges for any space.
There should be plenty of space on
Yeah.
this cloud, is what you're telling me, right?
Yes. And you can store your applications and so forth up there as well. So
Yeah.
things are changing, but anybody will have access to the quantum computer for their own personal needs.
Beautiful.
Our
Wow.
Loved One Society will be an application on there, which
Right.
could be very large in terms of what we're trying to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, getting back to the appointment then, is there any questions about that?
So the appointment that you're discussing is for exchanging Zim. Is it Zim only or appointment for all of us on all different financial aspects and different currencies?
I like to look at the appointment. There's redemption centers that we'll get our appointment to if we have Zim to redeem.
Okay. So
That's
there's
what they
a
call it,
difference.
redemption center.
Okay, gotcha. So there's a difference between the appointment is where you go in and you have the interview basically with the divine consciousness of the quantum computer application. But then there's also the redemption centers when through that interview process, they discover that you have Zim and other aspects to exchange. Was that correct?
It's really close, Julie.
Okay.
Maybe just a little bit of variations there and there. Let's talk about the individual who will be doing the or interviewing for the actual application or for
Okay.
what you're trying to do in redeeming your Zim.
Okay.
we need to understand that that person is not just somebody who responded to an ad in a newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
This person is representing the alliance. And who are the alliance? They're the ascended masters. There's off-world benevolent ETs.
Right.
And then you've got the boots on the ground here, the white hats and so forth here on the earth. Well, when you're representing those kinds of people, you're not some off the street person.
Right.
There's a very strong likelihood that we will have an angel of some sort that's doing that. Now, when they come down and they are all knowing, they know that who you are, they know the Zim that you have,
right.
They know that where your intent is and where your heart is to do humanitarian work.
Right.
So with that knowledge in mind, they also have an idea of the rate that you should receive for the amount of Zim that you have to get the amount of money that you need for your projects. So it's all in harmony. And when you tap into the source of information for you on a personal basis and you receive, well, I should take, let's say 500,000 per Zim. I say that not with my tongue in the cheek. I say that because we have no idea what the Alliance has in store for each Zim holder to accomplish, because they're in charge of the whole system of pulling mankind out of poverty and into the abundance mentality, which is essential for the ascension process. And it just simply makes sense. Now, I look at some of the gurus and people who are, $12 million for 100 Z-note, T-note. And those kinds of people have no clue who the Alliance is and what the Alliance is trying to do. It just makes sense, doesn't it? So what we're looking at is those who try to restrict us or limit us to the funds that we get or need to do our humanitarian work are working against the whole system. Now, who's against the Alliance? Yeah. Who's against the Alliance? Well, even if you act like you're part of them, when you give out your information, if you're an intel provider, you are going against what the Alliance is trying to do. Is that crimes against humanity? Or even treason? My thoughts and my feeling is that one of the things we know when the RV is getting close is when the Alliance comes in and terminates these people from their activities of telling humanitarians that they're not going to get the money that they need to do their work. I would not want to be one of them. No way. So if we understand who the Alliance is, then we can use our inner knowing and respond by saying, well, the Alliance would never tell us that we're going to have 12 to 22 $1 million to do our humanitarian work from a 100 T-note. And then if you go have more T-notes, 100 T-notes, you get less and less per note. And they've got some kind of a figure out there that they have said, well, you're only going to get 10 or 12 million for the first 2 or 3. Then you're going to get 10 million for the next one. And then you're going to get all the way down to 5 or 4 million. Or that's your limit, as in you cannot redeem anymore. So give them away somebody else. Whatever their plan is, I don't know. But those are the kinds of people who are pretending that they're speaking for the Alliance. Another one of the big things is if they talk about banks. If you talk about a banker, a bank, or a wealth management such as Abbott Downing, You're not talking to the alliance. You're not getting information from the alliance, because the alliance would never go through the enemy for their humanitarians to do the work that they're trying to accomplish. It just doesn't make sense, does it? So one of those things that you can tell, the tell for all of these people, are they trying to limit the amount of money you can get? If they talk to you and say, I'm representing the alliance, and you will get the negotiated rates that you deserve for your capacity and the projects that you want to do. It will marry those things all together, and you'll come out of there kicking your heels together, because you're going to get to be able to do all the things that you wanted to do. Now, you also got a little bit of money for yourself, and you always have to take care of yourself first. So if you want the house on the hill, get the house on the hill. If you want a Bentley, get a Bentley. If you, for some reason, feel that that's going to make you happy, then get what you feel you need, without exception, because they're not funding a project. They're funding a humanitarian who will do the projects. The money that they receive will not change who they are, because it's in their heart to do the kinds of things that humanitarians do. Heart-centered humanitarians. You start messing with them, and you're going to have problems from the alliance. That's plain and clear. You mess with the humanitarians, you're going to have some serious problems. Now, these guys don't know that, and they don't really care, because they've got some kind of a directive that comes from whomever, and I don't care where it comes from. It's acting in opposition to the alliance, and that's not going to work. We're fighting a war for that. Choose your side. So you're not supporting humanitarians. You're working for the wrong side, and the wrong side will not win. And I don't know where gematria comes into there, Tom, but maybe there's some things in there that could be put together to kind of put a package on this, because that's what's coming down the line.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, the things you said there, Ron. And so gematria, what we're doing with the numbers, it's a couple of interesting things with that. So there's a few versions, but the one that I use, and the one that I see very obviously President Trump use, because he's the one that taught me how to do this. Just listening to him every day at the beginning of 2020, the lockdown, all of that, I just listened to him for hours on end, as everybody could do. And just, it permeated into me, and I started to figure things out. And interestingly, the word download comes to 88, which is Trump. But when you do simple, the word simple, gematria, because there's a Hebrew version, there's an English version, and I think he probably uses all of them, but the ones that we use, simple gematria, the word simple comes to 74, which comes to Jesus. Gematria comes to 74 as well. So that's Jesus, it's London, it's point. President Trump points all the time. He's age 74. He comes from a line of Christ. So his father's middle name was Christ, 77. The grandmother was Christ. The great-grandparent was Christ. It would probably be too obvious to call him Donald John Christ Trump. The public and the media wouldn't like that. But anyway, connect the dots. But when you add them together, simple gematria, 74 plus 74, it comes to 148, which comes to scriptures. It comes to Emmett Brown from Back to the Future. He invented time travel, but it comes to Donald J. Trump. So it's everywhere. There's so many pieces of this. But in regards to what you had just said, Ron, so I looked at the numbers on Ascension, and thanks for reminding me on it, because I did it a while ago, but I couldn't remember what it was. So Ascension, you talked about the Ascension process. So Ascension comes to 99. Another value for a word that comes to 99 is patriot. So when you're describing these good humanitarian people, by definition, they're going to be a patriot. And Ascension equals 99, which is also patriot. Some other things that you said as well about divine consciousness. So divine comes to 59, which also comes to the animal tiger. But it also comes to Joker, as in Joker card. And Joker card is a top card, a trump card. Okay, so the quantum financial system is a trump card that is going to be brought to the people. The word consciousness comes to 175. Yeah, it is very interesting. Divine consciousness comes to 175. Divine consciousness comes to 234. 234 comes to a few things, but one of them is King Solomon's temple. And so President Trump has spoken in the past when he did the second part of the Abraham Accord. He talked about one of the gentlemen in one of the Far East countries, and he kept saying Solomon, Solomon. And I realized that Solomon came to 103, which also comes to the age of JFK. If he was here, I believe he still is at some level. His age is 103.
Is 103, right?
Yeah,
right.
Solomon. Yeah. And when you make it plural, Solomon, so King Solomon's temple, Solomon's comes to 122, which comes to millennium, which is what this is. This is the beginning of the millennial reign. This is the beginning of the golden age, the 1,000 years of peace. The Chinese elders have represented that when they did with Steve Bannon, who's working for President Trump, and they had that on the barge in New York. They see the Statue of Liberty.
On the sea,
yeah, all of that. And so King Solomon's temple, we know that Solomon was very wealthy. There was gold, etc. But king, even the year that we're in. So the word king comes to 41. 41 is 20 plus 21. 2021 comes to 41.
Wow.
USA comes to 41. Alien, like benevolent ETs, as Ron said. Alien, the word alien comes to 41. The word king comes to 41. My initials, thankfully, Thomas Sidney Bushnell, TSB, comes to 41. Good comes to 41. Fun comes to 41. Key comes to 41. And then temple comes to 71. 71 is smart. It's my channel, Psych Club. Psych comes to 71. But also it's a mirror reflection of 17, which is Q. So you've got 17 Q, 71. So you've got all the numbers there, but 234, divine consciousness, as Ron put it, comes to 234, which is King Solomon's temple. You know, so this whole thing of the treasure, and you know, we've got the elder, wherever that treasure is, or many pieces of treasure, or many places of the treasure, you can see how all this connects, and it's just very interesting. The more that we continue to delve into it, you know, the numbers support what is being taught, you know, what is being said.
Wow.
That's isn't that?
Yeah.
Everything fits together.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. It's wonderful. I love this stuff.
Tom, how do you do this? How do you figure this all out?
It's all from President Trump. I give all the praise to him because I listen to his voice and he has power. You know, he's a divine being.
He's anointed.
You can take it further. I mean, the revaluation. So revaluation comes to 138. Money, freedom comes to 138. And guess who else comes to 138? Donald Trump.
Right.
It's all there, you know, it's all there. And if looking at the numbers, even in your Leviticus scripture, Denise, so you said Leviticus 25:8. So I did the numbers on 25. If you do 20, the word 20, it comes to 107, which comes to trumps. It also comes to currency. It also comes to quantum.
Look at
so you've got quantum, currency, trumps, all of the same word. Aquarius, one of the times that we're in now, 107. 5 comes to 42. So 25, 107 plus 42 comes to 149, which comes to the word inauguration. It also comes to April, 1st of April, also comes to 149.
Wow.
If that happens, then we'll see.
How
see.
Cool would that be?
Yeah. And then if you
can I interrupt you right there, Tom? Let's stop right there, April 1st. So because there is a tie to money on April 1st, and I believe there's it's like the stock exchange, certain stocks have to be paid out by they have like a 24 or 48 hour turnaround, but the drop dead time for them to pay it out is April 1st. And on that date, if they don't pay it out, then there's going to be big ramifications amongst the stockholders and on the stock market. So that date there, that could have something to do with all of the QFS and the money stuff that we're going through right now.
Maybe a tinderbox that might kick things off.
Right. I feel like it could be a big kickoff for the financial aspect, because they're not going to be able to fund everything that they're supposed to pay up on. The gig is up financially, basically. So
it's gonna be a domino tip, isn't it?
Right. I think so. That's what I'm hearing. But yeah, normally they would have 30 to 60 days or whatever to pay this stuff off. They're going to get 24 to 48 hours. I think it's like from the 28th or the 29th of March to boom, it's due April 1st. So sorry, if you can't pay the bill, you're bankrupt. You're done. So yeah,
that's amazing. Thanks.
Maybe that's
thanks,
how it's
Julie.
going to happen.
Yeah. The other part, the last part of Denise's scripture. So, are you still there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. I can just see your thumbnail picture now. But anyway,
I wanted to grab something.
Okay.
To what we just said.
So if you do 25, like I said, 25, you spell the word 25 or the two words 25, it comes to 149 April. Well, 1st of April inauguration, hopefully, perhaps, or something to that effect. But then if you take the last verse, which is, the last part, which is 8, the verse 8 is 49, which is bolt, which is crash. So what Julie's saying could tie in with that. But you add that together. So 149 plus 49, which is the way that you spell the word 8, takes you to 198, which comes to President Trump, also comes to the resurrection. And I've been talking with others, and Charlie's been talking about how the quantum system, so like Ron just said about the quantum financial system, if I've understood correctly, it's like an app, it's a program on that system, but the whole system is financial, but also health and everything else. So in terms of the resurrection, I firmly believe, President Trump's done soft references to that. He spoke about a woman that had died, and then he started talking in the present tense, saying, well, what we'll do is we'll get her in and we'll give her this shot and we'll give her a transfusion and she'll be well again. And the woman had just said that her mother had died. President Trump spoke in reference to the mother as though she was still alive or she would be made well again. So he's doing it, and that's all part of the millennium, in terms of people being resurrected or being made well and, youthful again. So the numbers 198 comes to the numbers of the verse in Leviticus, the debt forgiveness that Denise has given us comes to President Trump 198, but the resurrection comes to 198 as well. So again, it's just all there. It just reinforces everything,
Right. So. Wow.
I just wanted to add on to what you were saying, Julie. So somebody texted me probably a couple of weeks ago and said, March 29th is a big day for the banks because they have to pay out gold, silver, and platinum, and they don't have it.
That's what it is. Yep. That's what it is. Yep.
They have to pay the precious metals, and they don't have it.
Right.
Wow.
Right. So this has been part of where they have been suppressing the price of gold and silver. And this is where they're no longer going to be able to hide behind that. So yeah, gigs up, guys. Yeah. Sorry.
And according to Charlie, those the price that they're saying is dropping in gold and silver is just fake.
Yes.
Because it's not. They just want us to think that the value is going down.
That's right. Because they didn't want us to have the gold and silver. So, right.
And then if you have gold and silver, you're going to want to get rid of it. You want to unload it if you think that the value is dropping. So
exactly.
That's what they want.
This is why we hear all these commercials, the pawn shops will buy your gold and silver now.
Yeah. Ron, I've asked you about the gold and the silver. You're not big on that though, right? As far as
I'm not qualified to really get into
that's what I meant
and so forth, but I just know that
right
when the quantum financial system becomes active, It's gold backed. So why do you want gold? You're using gold backed currency to buy gold as a hedge against inflation, but there's no inflation in the new quantum financial system. So
Exactly.
why do you need gold?
But it's good to have it
Cash and start
now,
using it.
isn't it? I mean, it's good to
I
have
think
it
so.
now, right?
Yeah, just keep your stethoscope on the market, because when it starts going down, now that's after, I'm not saying anything before that, but I'm saying after that, just be aware that it's a commodity and it's subject to supply and demand like any other commodity. Yeah. So if the commodity is going down, then that means that there's no demand for it. It's going up, then there's a problem with supply.
Right.
But if it's balanced out, then, but just be aware that money used, or gold used for money, is going to go away because you've got gold backed currency.
Right. Yeah, I get that. Okay. Yeah,
So
yeah.
gold as money will no longer be desirable,
Right.
because you can't use it like money. You got to carry a big pile of your gold around with you to buy stuff.
Right.
I'm
When you
seeing
can just have-
wheelbarrows.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that be fun to have? Yeah. It's not going to be the same for silver, because a lot of the elements, or the elements that are involved in the new free energy process, the devices for that use silver and aluminum. And so the prices of those is going to go up because there's a demand for it.
So you're talking about the Tesla technologies there?
Tesla technology will be involved with it as well. Yes.
Okay.
I don't separate them, but now that you've said that, yes,
Okay.
it will be part of the Tesla technology that's coming out with free energy devices. And the devices will be, they need silver and aluminum to develop them.
Right.
Now, what do you think is going to happen with the Bitcoin, Ron, and other XRP?
Well, that's a really good question. I don't know a lot about it, but let me just kind of theorize a little bit.
Okay.
When you have gold-backed currency, why not sell your Bitcoin and turn it into gold-backed currency? The reason I'm saying that is because the whole Bitcoin process, with all of the mining over in China and all that sort of stuff, and that's underneath the Three Gorges Dam, and if that goes, then all that goes with it. They can pull a plug on that, and there's inherent problems with the ownership of that. If you lose your PIN number, you're out of business. There's no way to recover that. So there's some concerns about it. Now, that's one side of the fence. I've also heard that there's a possibility that your Bitcoins could be exchanged for dollars or whatever increment your country uses in the quantum financial system. I've just heard that, but I'm not sure about it, because once you pull a plug, what good is it? And why would the alliance want your Bitcoin when there's no value to it?
Right.
Of course, there's no value to the ZIM unless it's established within your rates and so forth in your redemption appointment.
Right. Because the Bitcoin is not on the quantum computer.
No.
That's right.
Yeah.
Is there any crypto? I think you said before, Ron, I might have misheard you or misquoted you, but did you say there's no crypto on the quantum system in the end?
No, it's a different type of. See, we're talking about digital gold certificates that are acting as money in the transfer of funds and so forth. And I don't see a place for that in the digital place for that on the quantum computer. But I could be wrong. They may be just trying to work it out. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm really not qualified I've said more than I'm qualified to say, I guess. I'm just giving my opinion.
Well, thank you. It's good to hear it. Julie, you said, and Denise, in regards to this thing of the banks, you said March 29th.
Yes.
So I've just done the numbers on March 29th. So 20, as we said, is 107, which is Trump's, which is currency, which is quantum. 9th comes to 70. Add those together, takes you to 177. But if you add March, which is 43, takes you to 220. And 220 comes to Operation Warp Speed.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that would be very much a very fast moving operation.
Yeah.
From the 29th till the 1st of April. That'd be moving it fast.
Yep.
That would be. And there's a piece I've mentioned before in other videos, but there's something. So there's a whole bunch of Q films, and I think really Q is embedded in all media and all culture when you look at it closely enough. But one of the films that got re-released after lockdown in the summer here in England was Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
And I inherently just always thought it was kind of a chick flick. I hadn't seen it for ages. I couldn't remember it. But I went and watched it, and it was like watching a brand new movie, and I fell in love with it. And I watched it. The key to it was any old film that was re-released after lockdown was deliberately put out for people to watch. And Dirty Dancing was one of them. All the Christopher Nolan films were, the Harry Potters, the Lord of the Rings, Terminator, and Matrix, all of those things. Anyway, but there's a piece in Dirty Dancing, and right at the end of the film, probably the penultimate scene, or maybe 2 or 3 scenes before the end, the owner of the holiday resort that they're in just randomly says this, and it doesn't connect to anything else in the film, but he says 22 countries in 3 days, it all feels like it's all just coming to an end. And that stood out to me. I was like, okay, that's something. What's that about? So I've been looking for this 3-day period when something about 22 countries, and it all just kind of ends. So you just said 29th to the 1st of April is a 3-day period. So that could perhaps be it. I don't know. Maybe there's a few 3-day periods, but maybe.
Yeah.
You know.
So what this person told me was there are metal certificates that are due on March 29th and due on April 1st. So on those 2 days, they have to pay up. They have to pay up on these certificates. Yeah. And they don't have it. And they don't have it.
Love it.
Are those options that have to be paid out?
I'm not sure what those were. That might be.
Because
you're probably right, Ron. You're
options
probably right.
come with a responsibility to buy the gold and give it. If they're gold certificates or something like that, then you have to have the physical metal to be able to supply the certificate. So
that's where they're screwed.
How that works.
Right. That's where they're hosed right now.
Yeah.
Because they don't have it to back it.
It's a call, and if you can't make the call, you're out of business.
Yeah. Denise, can we ask who told you that? Are you allowed to say?
She's a patriot like us. She I guess she probably saw it through social media. Her name is Vicky.
Okay. No, I just wondered if it was like kind of someone really that knows.
No,
okay.
No, but she did get it as intel. I don't know where she got it from. And she's military. Yeah, she's military. So she finds things out before most of us.
Military's 107, currency's 107, quantum's 107. So yeah, good.
Wow. It's all good stuff.
Well, this last week, I also got confirmation that the U.S. Treasury in Kansas City, Missouri has been completely closed. No one's been in there for the last year.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Somebody was saying about the one in Georgia as well. It's been closed for a year.
Yeah. Nobody in there. So lovely.
They all got a pink slip.
I know.
Go get a real job.
Stop harassing us, civilians. Come on, or sovereign beings. Stop doing illegal stuff.
Yes.
Did anyone see this? Slightly, I guess, connected to, but I saw a couple of videos over the weekend. One that President Trump had flown to England apparently to do something, and then I was thinking, oh, he's here in London, and I was like, maybe we can, say hi and find him.
Yeah.
And then by the once I'd kind of realised that I saw another similar video of him in Atlanta and in Georgia. So, is there any? I haven't had a chance to look further at that. Anyone heard anything about that? Like how long? What's he doing in Atlanta?
He was
and
here in New
Georgia?
York too. He came to New York, so I don't even know why, but he was here. I think it was last week.
That's all connected with the RV as well. So remember when he said, and he joked about the RV, and he said, maybe I'll take our First Lady back to New York in a trailer, in an RV. Yeah. So to me, he's telling us that when big things with this happen, New York is on the board in reference to that, I believe. It's his home. He's going to turn it around. And it's so iconic. You've got all the buildings there, the Statue of Liberty. Yeah. And they've told us, again, with the gentleman from China representing the elders in the new Chinese Republic with Steve Bannon, it's on the waters of New York. Right. The Statue of Liberty is right behind, which I know technically is New Jersey, but you know what I'm saying? It's all there. So,
Yes.
Well, they were in New York. They're in New York.
Remember, they see
looking at the statue, which is in Jersey. So
just remember, Jersey sees her backside.
Exactly. You told us that last time, didn't you? Yeah.
Yes, we see
New
her
York
front.
Is pivotal. He said it. He joked. He said, "I have to take our First Lady back to New York."
I remember that. I do remember that.
Yeah. Well, something significant is happening with Georgia for sure. And I think, Tom, you probably have some insight more so with your friend in Atlanta,
Bryce.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's great, by the way. I love her.
Great. We'll have to get her on one of these with us.
Oh, we'd love that.
Fantastic.
Yeah. We would love that.
She's great.
Yeah, so she went down there about a week and a half ago.
She went to Tyler Perry, didn't she?
Tyler Perry Studios, yeah.
Yeah.
The Tyler Perry Studios has another replica White House, and Google have conveniently scrubbed it from Google Images, so you can't see it. You can see the plot of land where it was, but it looks like it's been, like a caravan park, and they've moved it. But she's spoken to people that work there, and they've said, yeah, it's just over there. It's there
that?
still.
Is that where the inauguration was? Maybe.
Probably.
Don't know. We've since found that there's loads of White House replicas all around the world. There's one in England, and there's a whole bunch more in America. There's a lot, and it seemed. We did a piece with Tarot by Janine, and she said that Tyler Perry was a good guy, but something's probably going to happen around that. So when I saw President Trump going to Georgia, I was like, oh, maybe there's we don't know yet until we see what happens. But it's interesting that Georgia came up on the board, just in the last week or two, and then he's actually there or was there,
And I think something. Well, didn't Janine do the numbers, or somebody did the numbers on Kemp? Brian Kemp, I think.
I did the yeah.
And so Georgia's key in there somewhere. It's I think that might be where the turnaround for the election results finally drops. Maybe that's the first, full mainstream. Who knows? But speculation. But yeah, that's fun.
I don't know if you guys know, but I think a couple of weeks ago, Trump went to Switzerland and signed Nassar and Jassar into law.
Yeah, he did. And you guess what the numbers are on Switzerland?
What?
So the numbers on Switzerland come to 151. I actually did it. If you go to my channel Site Club, I did about 4 or 5 days ago. We have the Swiss embassy here in London, and it's in my neighborhood. So I went and did a little video on that. But the numbers, Switzerland comes to 151, which comes to drain the swamp.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
It comes
it is almost comical, right?
Yeah. Wow. It comes to the Jassara reset. So the Jassara reset comes to 151.
Wow.
And it also comes to Jesus Christ.
Whoa.
Look at that.
Yeah. So whatever people say about Switzerland, but in terms of it all, because President Trump made a reference to it back in, I think it was the evening before he made the joke about, I'll take our First Lady back to New York in an RV, because I remember it, because that was that same day, when he made the joke about that later in the evening, I actually discovered for the first time the Swiss embassy. I was walking back. No, actually, it was on my bike, and I didn't realize I just took a different route. And I saw it. I was like, "This is a big red flag." And but the other thing about it, he said the night before, and it's on his Twitter, but Twitter, you can't see it, but someone can probably find the tweets. You might remember this. He made reference to an American prisoner of war that was either in Iraq or Iran, and he was flown back via Switzerland. The Swiss, and President Trump made a point saying Switzerland had been very helpful with this. Yes. And when you did the numbers on it, it came up to 17. So I saw it. I was like, oh, okay, that's cute. And then the next day, I stumble upon the Swiss embassy in London. Mm-hmm. I didn't know was there.
Wow.
And on the video I did about 3 or 4 days ago, you can see it, but you go to the address of the Swiss embassy here in London, and it's 16-18. So the missing number behind the scenes is 17. And it was all there in his tweet. And I found it the next day, just before he did the reference to the RV. And the other thing is, there was a bus. When I first discovered it, there was an actual, not an RV, but a big coach.
Uh-huh. Oh, wow.
Right outside the embassy. And I got a picture of it. And just next to the embassy, is anyone a fan of Breaking Bad, the TV series here?
Oh, I love Breaking Bad.
So Breaking Bad, that Walter White is played by the actor Bryan Cranston, who I actually met at a book signing about 3 years ago.
Did you? How was he? Was he nice?
He was nice. I've heard different things since. I know he doesn't like, but anyway, he was fine when I met him, and I was glad to have met him at that point. But the beautiful thing about this, right next, you can look on Google Maps, right next to the Swiss embassy, the street is called Bryanston.
No.
It's a blend of Bryan
Cranston. Yeah.
And the opening scene of Breaking Bad is all about the RV.
That's right.
And he made his money in the RV. I saw a physical coach that looked like an RV outside the Swiss embassy. And it was I was like, what's going on? And this is the third to the fourth to the fifth. It's the Great Awakening. It's the ascension process, as Ron puts it, and it's just beautiful. It's a great thing to be a part of. And, it's just wonderful.
Yeah. I found it curious. And when I was in Kansas City, the address to the IRS office was 333.
Oh,
there you go.
That was weird.
Yeah. Hey, what are the numbers on IRS?
At all, right?
The IRS would be 27, 46. President Trump is the year of his birth, 46. Dove. So all numbers are good. It depends on your focus and intention, Yeah. Biden's the 46th president, but 46 is a massive number for President Trump. His birthday is 146, which is 14 June. So 146. That comes to Ivanka Trump. Ivanka Trump comes to 146. Who I met. She was all part of the numbers for me back in Manhattan in 2015 with my cousin, and also Leonardo da Vinci is 146, and New Jerusalem is 146, and Julie knows a lot about that from her trip. So but 46.
And I told you they're doing a Leonardo da Vinci exhibit here in New York.
Oh yeah,
I told you that last time. I think it started already, actually.
Yeah,
maybe.
Well,
that's selling
tickets.
That's
a direct reference to Trump's birthday, 146, June 14th June, but also Ivanka. Ivanka Trump comes to 146.
Right.
And Leonardo, I was going to share too. You mentioned Google Maps and how they, are cutting out different aspects. The person who created Google Maps is here in the city I'm in of Lawrence, Kansas.
Really?
Yeah, his name's Brian something, I think. But KU, University of Kansas, has a large building that has a big display of Google Map and all this other stuff. So, that guy's right here where I'm at right now.
I've actually been in his home.
Really?
He lived in Sacramento. So my buddy actually owns the home where Google Maps started now.
Wow.
And it's just a normal, nice, very nice house.
Sure.
But I saw my buddy there 2 years ago, Sean, and he said, actually, this is where Google Google Maps and all that started here. And he's like, yeah. So I didn't know but I know the guy's moved since because Sean's in it now. So
yeah,
if you're listening, buddy, hey,
Well,
Yeah,
somebody
so
was having fun. Oh, I'm sorry, Julie.
No, that's fine. My girlfriend took a class. She like monitored a class that he was teaching. And so she's met him, and yeah,
Wow.
it's sort of a big deal around here.
Yeah. So are we going to say, Denise, that someone's having fun with us?
Somebody was having fun with Google Maps when Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested, and I did a video on it too. If you if you would have looked up the address where she was arrested from, and that was in New Hampshire, right?
Right.
If you would have looked it up through, I don't know, Yahoo or DuckDuckGo, it would just show the address. But if you looked it up in Google, it came up on the map as Epstein's House of Fun. I thought I was seeing things. I had to make a video to show people that I wasn't nuts. I was like, do this yourself. Put the address in DuckDuckGo, put it in all these other search engines. Now put it in Google. Epstein's House of Fun. Yeah. So I don't know who had access to do that, but somebody had a rough time.
More
Ron,
alliance in action.
Question for you. Ron, I had a question in terms of your knowledge and your expertise of the quantum systems. Has there been any, because there's a crossover between just kind of, facts on the ground, but has there been any crossover in terms of other, how do you put this, other knowledge on a higher level? We've talked about messengers or angels being there in the interview process. Do you have any more experience or things you can share with that, or is it purely just through study and hard work and earning your trade and your craft and your knowledge, or have you been blessed to maybe that you can share, if the case, of higher knowledge, higher beings, higher knowledge, in regards to all of that? I'm just curious if you're able to comment on that in any way.
That's a good question, Tom, and I feel like we're looking at the tip of the iceberg in our understanding of what the quantum financials and the quantum computer is. It has so much more than we understand. The quantum, we're going to be galactic human beings, galactic citizens. We're talking about intergalactic commerce.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about a gold-backed currency that will be used everywhere in the galaxy to replace the actual physical transferring of goods and services.
Mm-hmm.
Might be that there's a clearinghouse, a whole set of clearinghouses all over the galaxy. So the quantum computer can handle all of that. So we're in for some really, really fun stuff, Tom. We're going to change our lives completely.
Yeah.
Not just in the world here, but in the galaxy.
Wow.
When you said about the galaxy, so earlier I mentioned the date that Julie and Denise brought up about the first one, March 29th, and we did the numbers on that, 220 Operation Warp Speed. When you break that into two other words, it comes to 107, which is currency, which is Trump's, which is quantum. It leaves you with 113, which, interesting enough, comes to 55, which is Melania, plus 58, which is Ivanka. You add them together, it comes to 113. 55, we said, was heaven, sky, cloud, etc. 58 comes to Nessara, which is what we're going into. But you add those together, it comes to 113, which comes to the word universe. And you just said about galactic commerce, and I was like, so universe currency equals 220, which is Operation Warp Speed. And you just said about galactic commerce, and I was like, that's really interesting. That's powerful and profound,
And the new technology with the anti-gravity machines that can go interstellar.
Yes.
It's all opening up for us to be entirely different than what we are now as a society.
Yes.
Looking forward to it. It's exciting.
I know. I can't wait. I can't wait for it.
I feel like I had some massive practice on the anti-gravitational flying today on the highway because we have such high winds here right now that my car got like, I mean, I used to be a professional driver and it got pulled about 3 times. And I thought, oh, this is just getting me prepped for when I get to fly over all these people in my new Tesla car.
That's fun.
Well, it's funny you say that. Hank Kuhneman, he's a prophet, and he had a word probably a few months ago about winds of change, and that God wants us to know that he is in control, because it doesn't look like that right now,
right.
you know. And so he's sending signs, and one of them was high winds in many areas. And then there was another word that came in, and this was before the snow, about a lot of snow. And look what happened in Texas and places where you never get snow. And so what he's saying is God wants us to know he's in control, not to worry.
Yep.
You know, this is all going to turn around.
Yep.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Awesome.
There's something you just said in relation to all of that as well, Ron, when you said galactic commerce. I just took the chance to do the numbers on it, something I haven't done before. But so galactic, so galaxy comes to 70. I think we mentioned 70 some point earlier in the conversation, but galactic comes to 56. 56 is April. So we're going into this month of galactic, which is April. And commerce comes to 75, but you add those two together, it comes to 131. 131 comes to John F. Kennedy, comes to Steve Bannon. We've mentioned him doing this with the Chinese elders representing President Trump for this new age. Jim Caviezel. James Caviezel comes to 131. Cousin Paul, he's a big part of it for my numbers. He's passed. Cousin Paul comes to 131. And at the end of Back to the Future 3, which is the final installment of the trilogy, the number of the train is 131. And I've got a whole bunch of references, as I've mentioned, for 131, but Ron has just added to that when he talked about galactic commerce. And the train changes and it goes back in, you know, the timelines change and Tesla technology comes in, because you've got Doc Brown and he's flying around in a big train with Jules and Vern. And Ron just added to the lexicon of galactic commerce, with which is 131. So it's just incredible, you know.
That's awesome.
And Super Bowl is 131, and Herschel Walker, Dan Scavino put Herschel Walker number 34. 34 is DJT, which is John Trump, you know, and he's scoring touchdowns. And touchdown comes to 123, which comes to April Fools, and April 10th, which comes to silver and gold, which is, you know, the gold back currency. So, amazing.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
You know, you mentioned Jim Caviezel, and I have to tell you, I was on a roundtable with Charlie Ward last week, and
he came in on the phone, didn't he? Yeah.
Wasn't that the greatest? So I tell people, Jesus called. On a roundtable, Jesus called.
That's great.
Well, look at the other thing with Jim. So Jim, his initials JC, Jesus
JC,
Christ.
yeah.
And he was age 33 when he played Jesus in Passion of the Christ.
Wow.
Yep. I think the other ones too, like Jeremy Hunter, I think was 33. I think a couple more the actors that played Jesus were 33, which was kind of strange, right?
Yeah. Well, look at the word Don. So the Don, Donald Trump, Don, 33. Don comes to 33.
Wow.
Don comes to 33, comes to gate. The Don comes to 66, which is woman. And it's also freedom. And so people freak out about 66. No, 66 is a great, glorious number, because it's at least half the world's population, woman, 66. But it's also freedom, and the Don is 66. So it's, you know, I love it. I love the kaleidoscope of the numbers. It's amazing. I love it.
Wow.
You're good at it, Tom.
Yes, he is, isn't he?
He really is amazing.
Thank you, Ron.
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
Very cool.
I don't know anyone that reads numbers and explains them the way you do. You have such insight. And it's funny because isn't it true? The more you listen to Tom, you start to remember okay, 74 is Trump. That's his age.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I can almost say it with him because
yes.
you start to remember what these numbers stand for.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's great.
That's it. Yeah.
Very exciting.
Well, and it makes it easier to when other things are thrown at you, like from mainstream or people around you that are spewing the propaganda. It's easier to remember, okay, with those numbers and what that word means is actually this.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just this piece that comes from knowing all of the definitions of specific words using the gematria, I think, is what's really, really, for me, has been very calming and just hopeful too, obviously, but very, very calming. And so that's why I just love talking to Brother Tom and finding everything out that just, okay, it's cool, it's chill, that's all this word means. So, and you're right, Tom, because, and I like what you say about how numbers are not inherently good or bad. They just are, so right. We have to learn to also take away the negative energetics of those numbers, right? And that's what you're helping to do and teaching us that. So thank you for that. It's awesome.
Oh, it's an honor. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you, Tom.
It's like Ron says about the intention of the interview, everything is on the board, but if your intention is true and correct and pure, if you're pure of heart, then those higher dimensional off-world beings know that already before you go into those situations. And it's almost just like a reflective process for the humanitarian, because they already know anyway. They all know everything about all of us, which I think is, when you flip it, is actually really a good thing,
Right.
So.
Right.
Yeah. I look at it as a spirit of God. Like, God knows our heart. He knows our heart. He knows our motives.
Spirit comes to 91, comes to POTUS.
Wow.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Well, this has been great, guys. I know
absolutely.
Even last night I was getting questions and I was like, well, I'm going to jump on a roundtable with Ron, tomorrow. As I said, I'll ask him, and then you, Tom, everyone's like, can he read my numbers? Can he? So I gave out all your information. I said, he does consults, he has to see it. But you guys are just
now you have a class, don't you, Tom? You have a class.
Yeah, we've got an online product now. Yeah. So it's $17, 17. So you make it
like that.
accessible to a lot of people, and it's people sometimes say, and I understand this, they say, oh, sometimes you just say it really quick, and I get that because it just kind of comes. And so in this audio course and the workbook, we slow it right down. So I do it with my friend Ben Palmer, and I'm talking with Ben and taking him through his numbers, but also I'm talking to the audience back home or wherever you're listening to it, and I slow it right down and allow you the time to write your numbers out, A to Z, 1 to 26, and when people work out their own personal numbers, it becomes meaningful to them. And like you said, Denise, you're like 74, that's Trump's age. I got that now, and so then you can start to, it's a vocabulary, it's another language. It threads things together. But the course is awesome. I'm sure we'll put it in the links here and check it out. It's a great tool, but it all comes from President Trump. He's the one that, listening to his voice, literally, consciously, energetically taught me all of this. That's how it happened. That's the only way I can describe what happened. So that's what it was,
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you did it privately. Tom, I don't know if you did it privately, but can you read Ron's numbers while we're on with him?
Yeah, let's do. I might have done, let's do it again. So
because he did us, so
yeah. So let's have a look. Yeah, so Ron, RON, yeah, 47. So that's John. That's atomic silver. It's France. It's the Sarah. It's the mirror of 74. So the mirror of Jesus, the reflection of Jesus. There's that scripture. I can't think where it is, but it talks about the refiner's fire. And when you look into the kind of silver pool, and you see yourself.
Oh yeah.
You see Jesus in you, that reflection. So the whole thing of the mirror, 47, reflection 74, Jesus, John. So Ron is 47, and then Giles. So GILE.
Isn't this fun, Ron?
Yeah.
52.
Hope he doesn't find any skeletons in my closet.
Funny.
I make no bones about it.
Aren't you cute? Clever.
Oh,
Good one, brother.
There
Good
you
one.
go. This is perfect. This is perfect. So I don't think now that I'm seeing this, I don't think we did on the call, Ron. So this is really great to do this now. So so Giles, I'm just rechecking my work. So Giles comes to 52, which comes to earth. It comes to heart. You add them together. So 52 plus 47 comes to 99. We spoke earlier about 99 being patriot, but also ascension. And Ron spoke very clearly and eloquently about this ascension process. So this ascension process, this Ron Giles process is there, ascension and patriot. So amazing,
Awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
Does that mean I'll have to see y'all later?
No.
There you go. Yeah.
Oh, dang.
You see us all later and now and past. Okay,
Yes,
it's all
yeah,
good.
All at the same time.
All at the same time. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Very cool.
That is very cool.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank
Tom.
you for that.
I appreciate that.
Oh, it's a pleasure. You're welcome, Ron. It's been a pleasure again. Thank you.
Yeah, it's my privilege.
Well, thank you guys. Maybe we could do this again. Maybe we could do it after March 29th, April 1st, or if any information comes out about that, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Oh, Denise, before we go, I had a question. So
sure.
I saw a video of you a little while. Well, I don't know how long ago, maybe a couple of years ago, maybe more. And were you on Saturday Night Live or a skit show? Or...
Well, I have my own TV show. It's funny you say that. And I model, my show. We have a studio here in New York that I do my show. We haven't done it now because of the lockdown, of course.
Yeah.
But my whole idea, the theme behind my show was to make variety shows like the old Carol Burnett show and Sonny and Cher, Donnie and Marie, that type thing. Yeah. So we would go into the studio and we would have a guest come on and we would put that guest in skits with us. And, do things. Yeah. So I have and I just started putting them on YouTube because I figure, we're always talking about the same things, which is good because we want to know what's going on. But we should have a little fun too. So I started some of my skits on my channel.
What is your show called?
The name of my show is Remember This. And it's all retro pop culture. It started because I created a group on Facebook called Remember This. And everybody started posting like pictures of like the platform shoes, bell bottoms, candy we ate as a kid, all stuff from growing up. And everybody was like so excited about it. And I said, you know what, we should bring this to TV. I don't see anything like this on TV where you're just reminiscing and looking back and tributing the things that we grew up with. And so probably about 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, I started the show and people absolutely love it. And I would get like, people would like contact me after watching my show saying, Denise, I love that show. You brought me back to my grandmother's house, sitting on her living room floor, watching TV with her, because it's all, remember this? And it's good stuff.
So that's because that's the name of your YouTube channel, isn't it? That's the one I know.
That's why. Yeah, that's why I call it Remember This with Denise Boland, because this is an extension of my TV show, which airs on TV. I'm on TV every Wednesday night at 8 here in New York.
What channel are you on?
Well, it's only in New York, but I'm on FiOS 35 and Spectrum channel 79. Yeah. And then, so what I was doing was, this is an interesting story. I would air it on TV and then I would put it on YouTube. Okay. This is back in 2015.
Yeah.
And they started hitting me with copyright strike because, it's all nostalgia. So you're going to play clips from old TV shows or music clips from, music, Michael Jackson, whatever. And I got so tired of them taking my videos down. And so I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to put them on another channel. I put them on Vimeo. So I had 5 years worth of my TV shows on Vimeo. Wow. Do you know, without warning, okay, YouTube gives us a warning. They shut down my channel, just completely took it off their server because, you want to know why? I put Fall Cabal on there. By Janet Osborne. And they said it was bullying and it went against all. And I was like, because of that one documentary, they wiped out my whole channel. So I had a fight with them. I said, listen, I need to download my videos. I stored them on your server. So I had to contact their legal department. And then they gave me links where I could go in and I can get my shows. I had to download 5 years of my shows off their server. I want nothing to do with Vimeo.
Wow.
Man.
I just did the numbers on your show, Denise.
Oh, okay. Exciting.
So remember this. So remember comes to 79, which comes to super, as in like Superman or Supergirl, Superwoman. Wonder Woman. Yeah. So 79 is Wonder. Yeah. 79 is also Lemuria. So Huna Flash, my friend, talks a lot about Lemuria, the kind of time in the past and another way to look at where we're going.
Cool.
And also atomic gold. So we've been talking about the quantum system. Atomic gold, the atomic number of gold is 79. So that's remember. And then this is 56, which is April, which we're going into. Nolan, as in Christopher Nolan. 3, the number 3, the third age. But also light. So light is 56. So remember this. Wow. And you're doing that with people's memory because it's light, it's consciousness. When we think of something and remember it, we're accessing light, it's our own personal light. Add them together comes to 135, which comes to John Trump, as in John G. Trump with Nikola Tesla. They're in Manhattan, in New York, your neighborhood. And also Ivana Trump. So the mother of Donald, Eric, and Ivanka. So Ivana Trump comes to 135 as well. Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
That's cool.
And I have to share this with you. So this was before this whole pandemic. Okay. So this was November of 2019.
And Galactic we did with Ron 56. So this is Galactic as well. So
Wow.
There you go.
Wow. Yes. So, okay. So this was a few months before this whole COVID thing. Okay. So I went to like a prayer meeting. And I'm like praying, and then it's like the Holy Spirit said to me that this woman named Regina, she's going to come over and give you a word from me. And I looked up, and Regina comes walking towards me, and her word for me was, this was November of 2019. The Lord said, I have given you this platform, meaning my TV show, but I want you to reach more people, and I want you to change the format to give hope to people. And I'm like, because, remember, this is fun, but where's the hope? You're just reminiscing. And I didn't know what it was, but I was like, God, whatever you want me to do, I'm open to it. And then we had this pandemic and the studio closed. And I had my first guest, Joe D'Onofrio from Bronx Tale. I don't know if you're a Bronx Tale fan, Goodfellas, but we did a Zoom, and it was the first time I did a Zoom for my show. And then I started getting red pilled. I started watching True Reporting, Thomas's channel. And I was like, you know what? I want to bring this to people. I want people to know this. So I started doing my research, and that's how I transitioned my channel to bringing intel. And that's why at the beginning of my show, I put remembering the past and bringing hope for the future. So I still keep the name, remember this. But that was all God. God wanted this to bring hope to people and let them know. And I say that all the time. It looks really scary because it kind of does look really scary when they're telling you, well, if you don't get the vaccine, you're not going to be able to travel. You're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to do that. You know what? Everything the devil tries to do is going to fail. And that's how I look at it. God is in control. The devil is just a fallen angel. Okay. God is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent. And he gave us his word that he's bringing us into a new republic.
What was the word? You said Regina came to give you a word. What was it?
Okay, so the word was that the Lord was saying that he has given me my platform, which is my TV show.
So
but he
Yeah.
wants me to use it in a way
it.
where I'm going to bring hope to a lot of people.
So it was
he
a
was-
message. I thought I was looking. I thought it was a single. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
a phrase. Yeah, got you.
Yeah, so that was just, it was like God was telling her to tell me that he wants me to be.
And what's
open
your
to this.
relationship again with Regina? Who is she to you?
Regina, I go way back with her. I know her a long time. We've gone to
So
the
she's
same
your
church
friend?
together. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
She's a
Regina
friend, yeah.
comes. Regina comes to 54. Comes to love. Comes to orbs. So
Oh, she's gonna love
Oh.
that.
yeah,
Love orbs.
love
She's
orbs.
gonna love that. I started, I did a round table with her and a few other women. I did a couple of them and I never picked it back up again, but I should pick it back up again. Julie, we should have you on.
That'd be great.
Roundtable
Love
comes
that.
to Charles Ward. It comes to
Look at
Victory.
that.
Roundtable comes to 112.
I love that. That is so
That's great.
I did the first round table with that man.
Oh
you
yeah,
know-
yeah.
Do you know how that
Yeah.
all started? So I started watching these videos that he was interviewing Gregory Hallett, Joseph Gregory Hallett,
Yeah.
claiming to be okay. And so I was like, that's really interesting. So I went on Facebook and I looked up Charlie Ward and I sent him a message and I said, I just saw your interviews with Joseph Gregory Hallett. I'm in New York and, I have a TV show. I would love to interview you. He answered like within a split second and he's like, I would love to. Let's do it. I'm like,
Yeah.
and I already had planned this round table with David, Rodriguez and a few other people. So I said, well, Charlie, we're doing a round table. Do you want to join us? He said, absolutely. And that's how it all started. We started doing these round tables. It was amazing. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Charles Ward, 112 Roundtable Victory.
Wow.
amazing.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That is
Wow.
great. It's all good. What a journey, huh? Is this great?
Yes.
Yeah.
Look at how many people connected through all of this, I mean,
I
thank
know.
God I met you guys,
Yeah.
and
Amazing.
we all had a piece to the pie.
All the puzzle. But we
Yeah.
should do it again soon again. Like
Well, I'm
you said.
hungry.
Yes,
That's why I said
please.
pie. I'm sorry.
Yeah. We'll
I
do
said,
it again for
I
sure.
said I'm hungry. That's why I said pie. But yeah,
Yeah.
all pieces to
Well,
the
it's been
puzzle.
awesome. It's been awesome. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much,
Yeah.
Ron.
Thank you all.
Ron, do you have anything
Privilege.
you want to say to the viewers before we pop off?
No, I'm complete. It was a joy and it's just fun to be with you guys. Thank you for
It was
including me.
great.
Fantastic to see you, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
And
Yes,
Brother
thank you.
Tom,
Thank you,
Sister
Tom, for-
Denise.
Thank you, Sister D.
Bring this up.
Thank you.
All right, we'll do
Yeah.
it again
Thank you,
soon.
Denise.
Yes, we'll do it
Okay.
again.
Yes, for sure.
Sounds great.
Take
Bye,
care.
guys.
Thanks, Ron.
Bye.
Thanks, Denise. Bye, Julie. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
You too.
Bye, Tom. Take care. Bye-bye.